I do not understand why this thing is giving me such a problem.
Dave, did you make your iPad's Zoom account a co-host?
My iPad Zoom account should be the host currently. Yes. Okay, I guess this will just have to do. Okay, I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. All right, guys, so I'm thinking about a muscle. And this muscle originates on the head of the fibula. Proximal 2/3 of the lateral fibula. Inserts at the base of the first metatarsal and the medial cuneiform. So if it's a muscle that starts on the head of the fibula and on the proximal 2/3 of the lateral fibula, this is going to be a lateral muscle of the calf. So we can already start taking muscles off of our list. This muscle inserts at the base of the first metatarsal and the medial cuneiform. What muscle are we thinking about?
Popliteus?
Tibialis anterior.
Peroneus longus.
Okay. A muscle whose origin is the head of the fibula and the proximal 2/3 of the lateral fibula. That is all of the origin. There isn't more that I didn't tell you. That cannot be tibialis anterior, because we didn't say the word tibia, not a single time there. So it can't be tibialis anterior. What else do we think? Kira?
Peroneus longus.
Peroneus longus. Origin, head of the fibula and the proximal 2/3 of the lateral fibula. Its insertion is going to be at the base of the first metatarsal, way down there on the bottom of the foot. Ooh, look at that, way down there on the bottom of that foot. Base of the first metatarsal and the medial cuneiform. I'm thinking of a muscle that originates medial lip of the linea aspera, insertion tibial tuberosity. So I have some clues here. My first clue, which group of muscles all share the common insertion?
Quads.
Quads. Now, of the quads, which one has the word medial in its name?
Medialis.
Vastus medialis. Vastus medialis. Whoa. That was too much. I don't like this whiteboard. I like my notes app much better. Okay, I'm thinking of another muscle. Starts on the lateral condyle of the tibia. Proximal lateral surface of the tibia. Insertion, medial cuneiform, and the base of the first metatarsal. lateral condyle of the tibia, the proximal lateral surface of the tibia, and it inserts at the medial cuneiform and the base of the first metatarsal.
Tibialis anterior.
Tibialis anterior. Lateral condyle of the tibia, proximal lateral surface of the tibia, insertion, base of the first metatarsal and the medial cuneiform. Good job. I'm thinking of a muscle that originates on the posterior condyles of the femur, and it inserts on the calcaneus.
Gastrocnemius.
Gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius. You guys are doing pretty darn good. All right.
Gluteus maximus.
Very good. Origin, coccyx, exit of the sacrum and the posterior iliac crest, inserts on the IT band and the gluteal tuberosity. Of course, we are talking about gluteus maximus. So we'll do a few more of these and then I start, and then I've got another one for you guys. So if we have, for example, let's go back to gastrocnemius for just a second. All right, we're talking about gastroc. How do I passively shorten the gastrocnemius? How do you
knee?
flex the knee?
Plantar
Foot decline
flex.
and plantar flexion.
Flex the knee and plantar flex the ankle. So I take the client's leg, I bend their knee, and I point their toes. And that gastrocnemius is about as short as it's going to get. How do I lengthen the gastrocnemius?
You extend the knee.
And dorsiflex the foot.
Okay, so I pull the toes back and straighten the knee. Good stuff. Is that pretty simple for you guys? Okay, so how do I lengthen gluteus maximus?
Medially rotate the hip.
Medially rotate the hip.
AD duck
Flex
the hip.
Yep.
Flex the hip.
Flex the hip. Good job.
I have a
Good
kind of a silly question. How do you flex the
Yeah.
hip again? How do you flex the hip again? Okay, thank you.
So to lengthen gluteus maximus, we would medially rotate the hip, we would adduct the hip, and we would flex the hip. So if I bring this knee up towards this shoulder, that is glute max as long as it will get. And then you have to really twist the leg into medial rotation as you do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. How do I lengthen rectus femoris? How do I lengthen rectus femoris?
You extend the hip and flex the knee.
Extend the hip, flex the knee. Good job. All right. I'm thinking of a muscle whose origin is the inferior ramus of the pubis, and it inserts at pes anserinus.
Gracilis.
I am thinking of gracilis. Very good. Very good. All right, then. I'm thinking of a different muscle whose origin is the ASIS, and its insertion is the pes anserinus.
Sartorius.
Sartorius. Sartorius. I'm thinking of another muscle whose origin is the ischial tuberosity, and insertion is pes anserinus. Katie?
Semitendinosus.
Semitendinosus. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, then I'm thinking of another muscle. This muscle's origin is the AIIS.
Rectus femoris.
Rectus femoris. Got ahead of me, Kira.
Sorry.
All right, no, that's cool. I just have to come up with a more difficult one. Here we go then. So I'm thinking about a muscle who originates on the proximal posterior tibia. And one of its actions is knee flexion. Actually, I'm going to put that there. It's insertion, proximal posterior tibia.
It's going to be a quad muscle, right?
Well,
I'm thinking
plenty of
it's
other muscles flex the knee that
tuberosity.
aren't. No, it definitely will not be a quad because quads do not flex the knee.
I'm thinking of the tibial tuberosity. That's why.
Is it popliteus?
Popliteus.
Little pop. Little pop.
Popliteus. All right. What about a muscle?
Soleus. Damn it.
I'm thinking of a muscle who originates near the soleal line and is a plantar flexor, but it is not soleus.
Plantaris.
No. Not plantaris.
Is it tibialis posterior?
Tibialis posterior.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking of. Tibialis posterior. So how would I fully lengthen tibialis posterior? How do you lengthen tibialis posterior?
It's not dorsiflexion, is it? Never mind, I give up.
That was right with the Dorsey. flex, wasn't
Trust your instinct, Katie. It is dorsiflexion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Tibialis posterior is a plantar flexor. So to lengthen it, we dorsiflex. Tibialis posterior doesn't cross the knee. So moving the knee does not affect it. The only thing you can do is dorsiflex.
Okay.
Trust your instincts, man. All right. Okay. Next question. Which group of muscles that we've talked about all share a common origin?
it?
Hamstrings.
Hamstrings. What is that origin?
Ischial.
Ischial tuberosity. Which group of muscles shared a common insertion?
Quads.
Quads. And the common insertion for the quads is one at a
Tibial
time.
tuberosity.
Thank you. Which muscles all share an insertion at pes anserinus?
Sartorius. Semitendinous.
Gracilis.
Very good. Which muscles formed the calcaneal tendon, all inserting on the posterior calcaneus?
Gastrocnemius soleus plantaris.
Gastrocnemius, soleus, plantaris.
Oh, I had a question about the hamstring muscles. Do you want
Okay.
us to differentiate between the long head and the short head of the bicep femoris? You
Yes,
do?
because there are two separate origins.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is an ankle. And this is going to be your medial side. This is going to be your lateral side. So that thing right there is supposed to be a big toe. Right. So we had one muscle that originated here and inserted there. And then we had a second muscle that went like this. So what's the name of this muscle? Started on the tibia, wrapped around the medial side of the foot.
Anterior tibia. Or tibius anterior.
What's its name? What's
Ex-
this muscle's name? You're breaking up. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Tibialis. Anterior.
Tibialis anterior. What is the name of the other muscle, the lateral muscle that inserts at the same place as tibialis anterior?
Peroneus longus.
Peroneus longus.
Oh.
Peroneus longus and tibialis anterior. So peroneus longus crossing the lateral side of the ankle, what action is it going to give you crossing the lateral side of the ankle?
Foot eversion.
Eversion. Eversion. How many muscles in the adductor group?
5.
5. Name them.
Adductor magnus. Adductor brevis. Adductor longus. Gracilis and peroneus.
Pectineus.
Pectineus. Pectineus. Do you guys remember the mnemonic device that we used to remember the name of adductors?
Please bring me lunch, girl.
Please bring me lunch, girl. Please bring me lunch, girl. Pectineus, brevis, magnus, longus, gracilis. Please bring me lunch, girl. Feed me, Seymour. I'm thinking of a muscle on the anterior thigh about 2 fingers wide.
Sartorius.
Sartorius. I'm thinking of a muscle that inserts on the head of the fibula. A muscle that inserts on the head of the fibula.
Bicep femoris.
I'm thinking of bicep femoris. I'm thinking of a muscle that is inserting on the dorsal surface of the toes. Toes 2 through 4.
Extensor digitorum longus.
Extensor digitorum longus. Extensor digitorum longus. I'm thinking of a muscle that inserts on the plantar surface of the big toe.
Flexor hallucis longus.
Flexor hallucis longus. Flexor hallucis longus. So what can I do to lengthen flexor hallucis longus? How do I lengthen flexor hallucis longus?
Extend the big toe.
Extend the big toe
And dorsiflexion as well.
and dorsiflex. Extend the big toe and dorsiflex the ankle. How do I lengthen extensor hallucis longus? Extensor hallucis longus.
Flex the toes 2 through 4. Was it 2 through 4?
Why? Hallucis.
Oh, hallucis. Flex the big toe.
Flex the big toe.
I thought I said digitorum. My bad.
That's okay. I would flex the big toe. What else?
Plantar flexion.
Plantar flex the ankle. Plantar flex the ankle. Wow, my handwriting looks like a kindergartner's. Sorry, this is the Zoom whiteboard. I don't know why Zoom won't let me open up my notes app like I normally do. And I don't know, sorry. Anyway. All right, well, I'm feeling like you guys are picking up the major, right? The major things. So understanding how to lengthen and shorten a muscle, understanding where these muscles go. When you guys, maybe not necessarily on our tests, but when you take the MBLEX, you may very well have questions that will show you a muscle. And then you're supposed to tell about the muscle. So one more time, guys, can you look at this muscle and tell me what muscle we're looking at?
Semitendinosus.
Semitendinosus. That is semitendinosus. All right. Just a few more. What about this one?
Bicep femoris.
Bicep femoris. Bicep femoris.
Soleus.
Soleus.
Sartorius.
Sartorius.
Vastus medialis.
Vastus medialis.
Fibularis longus.
Good. Good stuff. All right, guys. So, does anyone have any questions over any of the concepts that we've been talking about? No?
I injured my abductor longus this last week.
Ow. How'd you do that?
I was an asshole. I was doing shoulder presses and I dropped a heavy dumbbell on my leg and I overcompensated and pulled it real bad. So familiarity, you know. So I'm gonna be limping come finals. So.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It is what it is.
Okay. So, does everybody have access to all of the review materials that have been opened on Moodle? The lists and the muscle lists and all that stuff? Yes. Yes. So one. So all of those lists will give you really good material as far as what to study, but I would always go back to this muscle tips handout here and make sure that we really know like the differences between the terms. Make sure we know our muscle rules, because this makes things so much easier when we're trying to remember all the actions that the muscles will give us. So knowing that medial muscles will AD duct, lateral muscles will AB duct, anterior muscles, plantar flex, or dorsiflex, posterior muscles, plantar flex. I put this together just because it's a really nice way of just encapsulating all of the big concepts in kinesiology. And then all these words, make sure we know the definitions of these words, just not because you're being asked to define them, but because the names are telling you something about what those muscles are trying to do. Let me think. I think that's just about everything, guys. That's just about everything that I wanted to cover. I know I hit all my major stuffs. All right, well, we are wrapping up a little bit early today, about 10 minutes early. So final chance, guys. When we come into class this week, we're just doing lots more review. That's the name of the game. Review and practicing for evaluations. If it sounds like fun, I'll see you on Thursday. Otherwise, double check your grades on Moodle, see if there's anything you guys are missing. If there's anything missing, let me know. You will probably be missing some muscle card grades. I put those all in at once. And I think there's also like reading assignments. I don't put grades on reading assignments, but if you're missing a grade for something like a postural assessment or something like that, or a quiz, get at me. I will
Is the written, sorry, is the written due this week or next week? Like the take home final
The take-home final is due this week.
this week? Okay, thank you.
Yes, the paper one. Yep, the paper one I need this week because I got to get started grading those things. I've got a stack of things to grade. And then the what's called the written final, which is the one that's on Moodle, that will open up and you just do that one on Moodle. So paper test, Moodle test, practical evaluation. That's what we have left to do. But I do need your paper ones when we come to class. Cool. Well, if there are no more questions, guys, that's all I have for you today. So enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see everybody Thursday afternoon.
Great, thank you.
Cool.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
You too.